Morning, morning, morning. Yes, we're back with another episode, another rider. Today we have a young lady and she's had an interesting journey. So I just want her to share her experience and hope that we can all learn from her experience of life, or just at the very least be intrigued. So nice to have you here today, Seth.
Thank you.
So you're born in Birmingham?
Yeah, I'm born in Birmingham. Then my family are from Cyprus, Cypriot. So we moved to Cyprus when I was 15.
Are you the Turkish side, northern side?
Yeah, we're from the north side, Turkish
Okay,
side.
I've been there.
Yeah.
It was nice, very
You like
nice.
it?
There's that castle in the corner, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And you can see for miles.
Yeah,
exactly. Oh, I love that. What's that castle called?
Kyrenia Castle.
Kyrenia
By
Castle.
the harbour.
No, this was inland. It's on like the island.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes up like a little horn or something to this corner. You can go up the mountain and you climb up this mountain. It's really high, and you go up to the castle on top.
Is it St. Hilarion?
I can't remember the name. This is many years ago. I was in my 20s there, and I'm now in my mid 40s.
I think it's either Kantara or St. Hilarion.
Oh, okay, that was really nice. So you moved to Cyprus. Why?
My mum and dad divorced. My dad was born in Birmingham. My mum all her family was back in Cyprus. So she was waiting for the right moment for me to finish my GCSEs, my little brother to finish primary school, and an older brother, he was in college anyway. So yeah, that was the right time for us to move back.
Mm-hmm. And was it a bit of a culture shock?
It was, but in a positive way, because I grew up in I went to a Roman Catholic school in a little kind of village in Warsaw, the Black Country. So
you're Turkish, yeah?
Yeah.
So you're Turkish, so you're Muslim background?
Yeah, Muslim background. So me and my brother at one stage, we were the only non-white people in the school. So for me, it was a bit weird growing up in a Roman Catholic environment because I wasn't Catholic. But then when I moved back to Cyprus, that was sort of the culture that I grew up with at home. So it was a really nice culture shock for me. Like, it was like, whoa.
That you're amongst your own?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
You say non-white. Did they see you as non-white, or did you feel non-white?
Yeah, wherever I've been, I've always been seen as a person of colour.
Okay,
yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So you were immersed in your family.
Yeah.
You had great joys. Did you start to go to school there?
Went to school there for 2 years.
You spoke the language?
Yeah, spoke the language, picked it up. Well, I went to Turkish school in Birmingham when I was little, every Saturday. So Saturday school.
It's all about the heritage.
Yeah.
That's good.
And I picked it up even more when I was over there.
Mm-hmm. And what was a typical day like for you in Turkey?
In Cyprus,
yeah.
So school started at 8 a.m, finished at 1 because of the heat. But my mum had a restaurant there as well. So yeah, I grew up in a takeaway fish and chip shop, as a lot of Cypriots do, in Birmingham. But then my mum got a restaurant in Cyprus as well. So I've always been like, out of school, back in the restaurant or back in the kitchen, or helping out.
What we found when we was in Cyprus, northern Cyprus, is that all the restaurants' dishes were the same.
Yeah, pretty much. Everyone sticks to the same food.
Yeah.
There's a variety of food, but
there's like 5 dishes that you guaranteed you're going
yeah.
and one had aubergines in or something like
Yeah.
that. I liked the food, but after a while I was like, okay.
See, I feel like I'm a typical Cypriot. I stick to the food that I love and I eat it always.
Okay, that's interesting. So you're not a fan of Chinese or Caribbean food?
I do, yeah. I mean, I lived in Japan for a year and a half.
So you decided to make a move from...
Yeah, so in Cyprus, because North Cyprus is not recognised. It's not a recognised country or state. It has its own government, but the university's there. I would have loved to stay in Cyprus. I love it there, but the degrees, I was told at the time, wouldn't be recognised by the rest of the world. So then I moved back to the UK to study here.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to Cardiff for a year. I studied speech and language therapy there. Found out it wasn't really what I wanted to do. So then I moved to Hertfordshire
So why did you decide to do speech and language? Very Pacific.
Yeah, I grew up with a cousin who had a speech impediment, and yeah, we always really got on. I always really understood what he was trying to say, you know. And yeah, I just really wanted to. I just really love languages. I love like interacting with people all the time. So for me, that was perfect. It was either a teacher, or speech and language therapist, and that's what I chose at that time.
So would it be fair to say that you have a caring heart?
I think so. I try.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
I try.
that's good. That's
Yeah.
good. So you went and did this. What was life like for you in Cardiff? Because I'm sure it's different from Birmingham.
It was very different because it was the first time I was on my own. Like a lot of uni students, you know, I was 18. I'd moved away from. I had no one, and I travelled there. It was very different. Cardiff is very different. Yeah, can't explain it.
Was it good different?
It was. Now that, like, if I think back now, I was a kid. I was only 18, so it was very overwhelming for me to move from a small island again back to like a busy city. But I liked it.
Did you finish a degree?
Yeah, I did. I went to Hertfordshire and I did philosophy, Japanese, and English language and communications. And then that's what.
So you left Cardiff, went to Hertfordshire
Yeah.
to finish the degree.
Yeah, and then I went to Japan to do like a year abroad.
And how was that?
That was really cool. That was an amazing experience. And actually, I'm having a reunion today with a lot of my friends that I met in Japan for the first time in 7 years. Yeah.
Okay. And what do you do? What was you doing in Japan?
In Japan, I did a bit of theatre. So it was a free year, basically, to study whatever I wanted to study.
Okay.
But it would count towards my degree.
So you weren't working, you just studying.
I was working as well as a teacher, so I was doing private teaching lessons to like business people. Well, my age range was 2 years old to 66, I think, yeah.
There's every man and his dog, really,
Yeah,
isn't it?
basically,
Anybody you could actually communicate with.
Yeah.
If you're not a geriatric and you can say hello, then yeah, you'll get it. So
Yeah.
were you teaching classes or one-on-one?
It was one-on-one, it was communication or English, so they love the British accent out there.
Mm-hmm.
So actually a lot of my kids that I taught picked up the Brummie accent, which was quite funny.
Okay.
Some words that I say.
Mm-hmm. And what did you learn from that experience, being in Japan?
Well, I went to Japan and no one knew me. I knew no one, so I could be whoever I wanted to be, or just be myself, basically. So, and that's what my experience in Japan taught me. If you be yourself, like straight away, be yourself, and whoever sticks around, and whoever doesn't really matter, does it?
So that goes in line with it's not that deep.
Yeah,
statement.
exactly. Yeah, because I feel like I've hid my true self for like a long time. But yeah, when I moved to Japan, like I said, like I knew no one, and so I thought the friends that I'll make are the friends that I'm gonna make for who I am. Do you know what I mean? They're gonna like me for who I am. So yeah, that's what I learned.
Mm-hmm. What would be your advice to somebody who is going to go to Japan and work like you did, work and study?
Be prepared for the culture shock because it's nothing like the UK. There's a lot of different cultural aspects that you need to learn for respect, like in any country, you know.
What are some of those? I know bowing is one, isn't it?
Yeah, bowing, you know, there's a lot of different tenses for thank you.
Tenses?
Like, yeah, you know, it depends on who you're talking to. You can talk to a mate and there's a different way of saying thank you. You can talk to your boss and there's a different way of saying thank you. It's a sign of respect.
You know Japanese?
I would say I can get by, yeah.
All right, so give us the thank you. You're going to say thank you to me. How would you say it?
So you'd say, to you, I'd say arigatou gozaimasu. So that's, you know,
That's
the polite way of
that's
saying.
the polite.
Yeah.
You're a taxi driver,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying hello.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, that's
And
the
now
most
your
polite
dad?
way. To my dad, I'd also say arigato gozaimasu, but like for my friends, I could just say arigato or, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not the tone, it's actually the wording.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so it's our equivalent. It's like saying thanks, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm with you. I thought it was like, I think it's Chinese where you have a different pitch or tone depending, which indicates, you know, you're being subservient or domineering and all those kind of things. Okay. So you was in Japan for 1 year or a year and a half?
Year and a half.
Year and a half.
Yeah.
And was there any point where you thought, I have to come home?
Not really. No. I loved it. I got a chance to travel as well to different islands in Japan. I went to Australia as well for 2 months from there.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a good opportunity for me to travel and meet new people and just fend for myself.
What was the food like?
Food was amazing. Food was so good. I can't fault the food in Japan. I loved it. I had ramen at ramen shop just opposite where I lived. Authentic ramen, which is amazing.
What's that?
Ramen is like a noodle soup.
Okay.
So on a night in England, you know, after a night out, you have a kebab. In Japan, we had ramen, little ramen trucks, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, that was great.
All right.
Yeah.
And then finally you came back to England.
Came back to England, finished my degree. Then I was in Birmingham after that. And then, yeah, I was looking for jobs, couldn't find a job. And then I found an internship in London. So, yeah, I moved here.
Okay.
And since then, I've been here.
All right. So your time in Japan has probably been the most significant time. And considering you eat you say your typical Cypriot, where you love your food, how did you find their fish, their raw fish and all those kind of... Is it sushi is their food, isn't it?
Sushi, yeah.
How
so
did you...
sashimi is their raw fish. So I'll try anything. If I don't like it, I don't like it. But I'll make sure I try it. I just don't eat pork. That's the only thing I find difficult, because a lot of the broths are pork broth. And, you know, there's a lot of pork in Japan. But yeah, that's the only thing I find difficult. But other than that, it wasn't really bad.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, thanks a lot for that.
Thank you.
And we wish you well.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Last quick question.
Yeah.
What does the future hold for you?
I feel like I'm going to have a good future. I'm manifesting that for myself. It's been a tough year for me and my family, but it's coming up for sure.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot for that.
Yeah.
And we wish you well.
Yeah, thank you.
We hope that episode enhanced your life. We post an interview every day as well as vlogging on our social media channels. Don't forget to subscribe to get our latest episode.